Whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or above, you have situations where trying to decide, well, I know this is probably best for me to leave, but I want to stay.
And there's always a way out.
There is.
There's always a way out.
There is, for sure.
There's always a way out.
Welcome to the Square Biz Podcast. My name is Lenora Thomas, and I'm here with my amazing book club members. They are helping me launch my very first podcast. Yay! Thank you so much for being here. Yay, yay, yay. So this episode is specifically dealing with the Golden Handcuff. And the Golden Handcuff, that can apply to business, friendships, relationships, just whatever is keeping you from moving out into the areas that you need to do, to move out into, whether it be starting a new business or leaving a relationship or just understanding and putting parameters and boundaries with family. So let's get started. So first, I'm going to have my wonderful co-hosts introduce themselves.
I'm Mariana, and I'm happy to be here. Yay! And I'm Laniqua, and I am excited to be here.
All right. So some of the things that we're going to compare and contrast is we're going to talk about comfort versus your calling, loyalty versus limits, those types of, push and pulls, because a lot of times when you get I don't care what season you are in life, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s or above, you have situations where you're trying to decide, well, I know this is probably best for me to leave, but I want to stay here because of XYZ reason. So whether it be a salary, whether it be just whatever is holding you back. So with that being said, I'm going to start with a couple of questions. And I'm going to have my esteemed colleagues help me go through these processes. And we're going to talk about some of these things that I think you may be able to relate to. In your opinion, Mariana, what is the definition of the golden handcuff?
When I think about golden handcuff, I'm thinking about a situation that is keeping you tied to something, and that can be professional or personal, like you explained in the very beginning, benefits associated with said thing. And it's something that is keeping you in that circumstance, whether that be comfort or money. It could be an array of things, but those things are keeping you in a position that you otherwise wouldn't want to be in.
Correct. I agree. Laniqua, would you like to expound on her definition?
Sure. I think golden handcuffs to me means something good, but yet it keeps me bound. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I think bound may not always be bad, but in the long run, it could be. Right? So I often see that in personal or professional life or whatever, most of our time in professional life. I see that mostly in my professional life.
Yeah, I definitely, coming from a business standpoint, the first thing I thought of when I saw the term golden handcuff, I thought about my hybrid approach to making money. So my husband and I have been in business together since 2001. And we started out, was like, yeah, business, we gonna live off the business, only the business. And then the wave started coming of, so this invoice supposed to be paid 30 days ago. We have the children, they need diapers and milk. I think we might have to get a job. So that time frame of stress or strain on the decision caused me to be like, you know what? I think I need to go to work. Once you start going to work, you are fed a paycheck. You're exchanging time for money. So, then you have to consider, okay, I'm taking time away from the household to get this money to pay for this household. Right. But then the money started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, you go $15 an hour. Okay, you can leave that. $40 an hour. That's all right. $85 an hour, $125. So it's like handcuff. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so now it's harder to leave. So even though, I got other things I want to do and I want to move out into different areas, that's a lot of money to walk away from. Do y'all ever can you relate to that in any regard as far as professionally? Or I know, Mariana, I think you didn't give much information about yourself initially, but are you an entrepreneur?
I am, and that was the initial thought that I had. So I'm a photographer, and there's been bouts of time when that's been my sole income. And in those moments, you're taking jobs to be able to pay the rent, be able to pay the bills. And sometimes you may not enjoy the actual job itself.
Right.
The clients may be very difficult. There may be a circumstance that, it interferes with something in your personal life that you have to commit to, to this gig because, like I said, I have to pay the bills. And in those moments, I have had to come face to face of whether was it worth it? Was those paychecks worth it to take away time from a birthday or an anniversary or whatever it is? And in those moments, it's been a challenge. And for the most part, I have decided to not have that be my sole means of income. So now I take on opportunities or jobs because I want to do it. And that's how I've been able to maintain a level of just healthiness with the work. So it doesn't drain me because it doesn't become enjoyable anymore. Once you're doing it for the paycheck, for, the visibility or wanting to work with said person, sometimes it's just not worth it.
That's so true. And the fact that you were able to assess that and say, for mental well-being, for my peace, I'm only going to do ABC as opposed to locking into something that's going to keep you bound. Lanika, what do you think?
I mean, as I heard Mariana talking, I was really thinking about, how you could get your professional life to also kind of align with your personal life, right? So I think I'm at the point in my career where I actually have my paycheck aligned with my passion, if that makes sense. So I could do what I'm doing for free, but I do like my money. I can, but I think I've reached a point where I could choose what I want to do because I'm really good at what I do. Right? But I think also having the support in your professional life. So I think having a really good supervisor who really believes in taking time off or really supporting you at work. I don't really have any issues in my professional life that'll make me say right now that it's a, golden handcuff for me. But I like the fact that I'm doing what I like and what I'm passionate about, but I also make money and make a good living doing it.
Yeah, now that's the sweet spot. I think everybody wants to get to that. It is. It is. But so let me pose this question. Just say for those that most people that are in 9-to-5s, they feel an inner calling to other things, especially when you get to that midlife, and it's like, I've been doing this 9-to-5 for 25 years, and now I want to be an artist. Or now I want to go into the other gifts that I believe God has given me, because all of us have multiple talents. I believe I don't think most people are here with just one thing that they were put here to do. And like they said, the most talented group of people is in the graveyard, because there are a lot of people that leave and they did not pursue the other things that they really wanted to do because they were tied to, Billy got college fund and you got 3 kids, 3 cars. By the time you get there, 60 and you're like, I don't feel like doing it. But then there was always an opportunity to do it. But they felt like I have to still be this breadwinner. So those types of things are a little more, I feel, difficult to decipher how to navigate. So I know for me, there's a lot of, I'm an artisan by nature, but, growing up, go to college, get a degree, get a job, which I enjoy what I do because I think Lanique and I both are in healthcare in different forms. So, but yeah, that's just something that I wanted to bring up because a lot of people have that question, like, how do I get here? How do I leave the golden handcuff? Or how do I get unattached?
I could kind of add this. So one of my best friends and I, we talked about this. She wanted to do some, she had the opportunity to stay at home with her daughter and just kind of take care of her for some years. And then she started looking for a job and she says, well, I haven't found anything that meets my passion. And my advice was, your passion could happen after 5. All right. You can go get a decent job or a job that kind of fulfills you and it still brings in the check while you're searching for your passion. Stop thinking that, you need to get paid for your passion all the time. Sometimes that doesn't happen.
That's right.
And so you need to still get a check to maintain, the things that you want. But I'm like, girl, I do all kind of stuff, after 5. And, teach yourself how to do things that make you feel good and get your reward that way, as opposed to thinking that your 9 to 5 has to meet your passion needs at that time.
That's excellent. That's an excellent point of view, because a lot of times some people will jump off the cliff saying, okay, I'm about to go open this bakery because I've been baking since I was 5.
Right.
Whereas there may be a strategy to get a food truck or do like this current location, how they have vendors and they have, we're in New Orleans, Louisiana. There are festivals just because. So just because festival, hey, sign up, get a little $75 booth and build from there, which would take some discipline that most people, if you just think about a baby in a high chair and you get the spoon and you're like, but you feed them and they're like, oh. So like we're used to getting fed our needs. So definitely something to consider. Okay, question number 2. Have you ever stayed in a situation longer than you should have because of comfort or perks? I think everybody likes to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes at the expense of using a good sense that God gave you. Because sometimes it's like you hear run, Forrest, run. But you like stay because it feels good. Stay because the money's good. Or who wants to start over?
Right.
I mean, I guess that can apply to relationships.
Yeah. And also you get accustomed to a certain kind of lifestyle that those handcuffs afford you too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not been in a situation where I kind of went past a certain due date. I've always strategized. Like, okay, at this point, we're out, girl. Like, this is cute for right now, and we're going to get this check and, navigate whatever the circumstances are. But I've always done that with a very specific goal in mind, because I've never been someone to stay in misery.
Right.
And I think, you become bitter, you become hard, you become someone unpleasant to be around.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed people who a circumstance will bring them to that.
Right.
And I'm not interested in that being me. But I've certainly been in situations, because I was comfortable or because the check was nice or, I enjoyed the environment or my coworkers. But those, they didn't last, for very long.
Yeah. And that could also apply to relationships, I'd imagine, like a marriage or a boyfriend, or girlfriend, maybe some type of abusive situation where, you have been with this person since you were 15 or 16.
History.
Yeah, the historical aspect of it. And you're kind of like, well, I don't know, I don't have the education to take care of myself, or I don't have the finances to leave. So I will stay and endure this because I am handcuffed to the situation.
Right.
And there's always a way out.
There is.
There's always a way out.
There is.
Like, I think God gives us our out. We just don't pay attention.
For sure.
But there's always a way out. And of course, your younger self would have put up with more than what your older self would now.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely put up with way more than I should have, probably in my 20s or even 30s. But now, yeah.
Even to that point, I think specifically women, I think we're often taught to just stick with things, even if you don't enjoy them or the circumstance isn't benefiting you. And also even young people, they're taught, this is a good job, or
stick it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so even the society in which we live in, it teaches us to stay in uncomfortable situations.
I agree.
And be able to look to the very one thing that is benefiting you and say, well, this is working for you, but these other 19,000 things aren't.
There's always something good, and even in the worst situations, you can find one thing that's like, well, at least, the toilet flushes, but that don't mean that that you want to live in this shack of a house.
Right.
You know?
Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. So you go live in it.
Right.
Right. I'm gonna go to the next question. Do you believe loyalty can sometimes become a trap? Lord have mercy. I was trying, I thought about that question and I was like, man, there's a lot of times, even when you think of people that are in prison right now, put themselves on the line for whatever reason, because we don't snitch, or you're my brother, so you supposed to participate in this XYZ decision that don't make no sense, but because you're loyal either by blood or by bond or by something, you gonna make this bad decision.
Right.
And now you sitting up there doing a bid for Johnny going on, maybe. I mean, this just, a random example, but
Right.
loyalty can be a trap.
It can.
I think.
Most definitely. I remember one of my jobs. I think it was one of my first jobs I've had since I was in my 20s. And I remember this guy who had been working there for like 20, 30 years. And he said, remember this in life. Never be loyal to someone who is not loyal to you. And I remembered that. So throughout my life, once I figured out that you weren't for me or you weren't loyal for me, it was easy for me to cut you off, even if I was in a relationship. But it's just, even with supervisors, I find, even in my professional life, like, if I can't trust you and that you have my best interest at heart, then I don't want to still stay there and, go hard for a supervisor like that. But loyalty can keep you trapped if you let it. But if you look at it as, hey, if you're not loyal to me, why am I doing all of this for you?
Mm-hmm. See, y'all are strong. Lanika gotta look. There's always a way out. That look, you don't let it happen to you. See, but well, but at the same time, for people like myself and a lot of people that I know that had that church upbringing, the spiritual aspect was like Ruth in the Bible, and they talk about Boaz, but Ruth stayed by Naomi's side. Okay, so your people will be my people type thing. So even if Ruth had, backflipped and somersault and did something more out the box, she was the loyalty that she had towards her, because she was almost like a mentor to her, and even taught, like we were always taught, turn the other cheek. Right. People was like, psh, psh, psh. You all slapped up.
I wouldn't talk that.
So for me, I think I had a little more of long suffering with situations where I should have been long gone. But then I felt some type of conviction, like you're supposed to stay, you're supposed to just endure, because, love is patient, love is kind, love is all of the Beatitudes in Matthew and, in the Bible. So that was so when I listen to y'all, it's like, man, I wish I could have had a little bit of that growing up, because y'all even. What? Growing up. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's I don't know. I just wish when I listen to it. Yeah, so just listening to the strength that you all have, is so many people, especially young women and young men, they can apply this. And that, if they listen, if they listen, because if you don't listen to the wisdom of a mentor, then life will be your teacher. So if someone is trying to tell you, which we are telling you, hopefully it'll sink in. But yeah, definitely some words to live by that. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no, and be definitive about how you want to live your life. And you are the only one that can create or destroy it, really. Because when you, at the end of the day, when we're all on that, I know it's kind of morbid sounding, but when we're all on that slab, we all have to get there, but nobody's coming with you. Even if you all were to die together, some people, I believe, are going wherever. So nonetheless, definitely good information. Yeah. Okay. So number 4, what are some non-monetary handcuffs you've experienced in life? For example, fame, expectations, fear of change. So it's not monetary specifically, because I know we did talk about the professional side, but are any okay, so I can start off with the expectations. And I think we all are close in the age. So the expectation for me was to graduate high school, go to college, get married, have children, Yeah, that's the expectation that most people put on women specifically. Because if you don't get married, when you gonna get married? Why are you still single? Have children? That expectation, their expectation, you can be handcuffed to what people expect you to do. Um, maybe you don't want to have children. Maybe you can't have children. Maybe you don't want to get married now. Maybe you just don't. And I'm just using, for me, just people's expectations. Even with my own kids, I've had to come to the realization that all four of them are creatives. Ain't nobody doing what I'm doing. I made them all go to college just because I was like, I think you need to have something for just in case. Even though right now they're like, see, mama, we could make millions of dollars online. We don't need to have this expensive piece of paper. But just to, I just asked them to do that, but none of them are even don't even care to even work a 9 to 5. It's like, you want to get job? Nope. I can make money using my gifts. So expectations, can y'all kind of elaborate on any type of non-monetary expectations?
Yeah, I'm thinking just about education specifically, and the expectation just to add on to what you just mentioned, but to not only do it, but to excel in it. Like, it was just ridiculous, the expectation of whatever you do, you have to be the very best at it. And it doesn't matter if you like it or not, But I also think about young people too. I think there's an expectation to sort of follow this arbitrary path to success. And young people, I see this in my personal life with like family members or even my friends' children. They put these very high expectations on them to do these very, excellent or even like monetary rich potential careers, and they get to the point where they're about to sort of launch into this life and they absolutely hate it because they're not in that and what's like, it's all about their parent, or feeling like they have to sort of just meet their needs, and then their needs sort of get put on the back burner. And I think that that's unfair, because I think you can't even express yourself or even the things that you want for your life because you're constantly trying to appease and make sure that everybody else's boxes are checked. And it just leaves you feeling empty. So, yeah, I think that piece that you mentioned is very relevant.
I agree.
For sure.
For sure. I think for expectations for my life, and I think it actually worked in my favor, there weren't any. So, growing up in a single parent home, and, my dad wasn't there. He was there, but he wasn't there. But I should say there financially. But even if I didn't graduate from high school, I think that would have been okay with my mom. There was no stress on education or anything like that. So when it came to expectations, is what I put inside of myself to say what I wanted to do. And so even though I've accomplished so much in my education, I didn't plan it out. It was just, okay, oh, so you go to college? All right, well, I go to college. I have no idea what I'm a major in. So I go there. Of course, I find my major. Thank God for Southern University in Baton Rouge. And the professors, like, I literally just did a Southern alumni retreat this morning. And there was like, what's one of the things you remember from going to Southern? And the thing I wrote was the dedicated professors that cared about my success. Wow. And so I think if I didn't go to Southern, I probably wouldn't have been where I am today. So then, of course, I go to undergrad, and then those professors are pushing you to go to graduate school. So then I go to graduate school. So then I had one professor who exposed me to other universities and other professors. And then I learned about a master's in public health. So then that made me explore that. So honestly, my expectations happened at each point in life, not when I was younger. And so as I accomplished more, I saw how far I could excel. There was no expectations for me to get to the level that I am educationally, personally. If I had 5 kids or whatever, I think my mom would have been fine with that, or my family members either. So I think it kind of helped me that I didn't have that family pressure of saying that I needed to do this and excel at this, because then I had to do it at my own pace and what I put in my head and what I feel like God was leading me to do at the time.
Correct.
And so it worked.
That's amazing. But, and as you get older and you reflect on life and you be like, because I used to be a little annoyed at the fact is like I had like my dad, I told y'all like coming up in a spiritual household. My dad was a minister. We were in church like Wednesday night, Friday night, Sunday morning, Sunday evening. So, and I used to be like, I'm so annoyed, but God has done a work in me in the fact that all things work together for good, good or bad. Yeah. So even though when you look at because of course, as you get older, you be like, this job of parenthood isn't very easy. And when I heard my child tell me, well, if you hadn't done such and such, and I'm like, there's a mirror, because you look at, it's easy to point at what someone else did and they do the best they can. And the expectations that were put on them were passed to us because they knew how hard we had parents that are in their 60s, 70s or had, have, or we're in the age group where our parents were there. So what they had to endure just to make it, they had to go to college. They had to, most of them were in education. My parents both majored in education. So education on both sides of the family was very important. So that stress, and then, you had to that was the option. I didn't really have another option. So, but now where I am now, if I hadn't done it then, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I'm kind of glad I did get the push to keep going, I went to Dillard University, got my undergrad in a very unconventional way. I went to Dillard, started out in 91, stayed there I was on scholarship, stayed there for a couple of years, and I was like, I'm done with this. I really want to go to Spelman. This is just not my cup of tea. Met my mister, got married, had 2 children. And I was saying like, Lord, how am I going to get back to school? Like, I really want to finish this. I'm not a quitter. I got to finish. Not to mention it was being mentioned to me that this was not part of the plan. Right. So the expectation. So I felt stressed more than anything. I was like, oh my God, I let my family not let everybody, I got to do this. And one day I was riding home from work and I heard that Dillard University had an evening program. And something in my spirit is like, go now. You got to do it. So I went. And they were like, okay, well, your financial aid isn't going to come in time, so maybe you can wait till next year. That was not an option. Like, I have to go now. I don't even know how I got all over here. Went ahead and did I sat in the classroom, not being on the roll, because it was evening program. It's like 5 to 7 p.m. So I registered for the 2 classes, and it's like, we'll let you stay on the roster until your money comes in, because I didn't have the money. So I said, I'm going to class. Right. So I politely sat myself in class for the first 6 weeks until that financial aid hit. And then they were like, every week they were like, Lenora, you're not on the roll. I don't know why I'm not on the roll. I registered. I should be there. If you might want to double check, I rolled that day just to meet the expectation that I had, because had now become my expectation. So some things, two-edged sword. So the last question we're going to address. So what role does fear play in keeping people handcuffed? So financial fear of the unknown. Let's tackle the unknown part.
Yeah. I'm thinking about self-worth. You don't feel like you're worthy of better opportunities.
Oh my gosh, so true.
That's so true. I think sometimes you get so complacent in a situation that you feel like this is the best that I can do. Yep. And there's no new job, no new partner, no new circumstance that, will be better than what I'm currently dealing with right now.
So true. That self-worth piece is huge, because you have to believe that you are worth enough to unleash yourself from bondage.
Because I think also like you then put that golden handcuffs on yourself.
Yes, right.
You do. You do. It doesn't even, they're not even a part of the equation anymore. It's like you yourself are part of the problem.
And that lack of self-worth is definitely a golden handcuff. Yeah. Okay. Because it stops you from doing a lot.
Yeah.
Personally and professionally.
So, right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. So we're going to just do a couple trivia questions to wrap it up. Now, these are easy peasy. These are bonus points, okay? This is for the congregation. So they'll know exactly, they can answer the question real quick. So I mean, it's really self-explanatory to me, but I'm gonna just ask a question anyway. So if a company offers you a $20,000 signing bonus, but only if you stay for 3 years, the trivia is either it's a hand up or a handcuff. So do you believe that offer of a $20,000 signing bonus with a contingency of a 3-year commitment, is that a handcuff or a hand up?
I say handcuff.
The handcuff?
Yeah, because they're expecting you to stay there for those 3 years. And who's to say that that's a good place for you or a good fit for you?
Yeah, that's true.
So you're blindly going into, the situation. Granted, it's, a couple more dollars, but are you going to enjoy those 3 years?
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think?
I've been offered something like that, and I took it. Being honest. Would I do it again? It depends, because now I feel like my worth at a company is a little bit higher. So then I would say, okay, if you're giving me $20,000 sign-on bonus, how much are you giving me in stocks each year? Right? Like, I need to know a little bit more before I accept that. And I could do 3 years anywhere, if I'm not happy, So
handcuff or hand up?
I would say it's a hand up, depending on the circumstances. Like, I kind of talked about this before. Even though you're getting $20,000, and that's just for people who've never gotten a bonus before. Even though they offer you $20,000, you are not taking home $20,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Though the Uncle Sam is coming to hit you first at that 40% rate. So, you may take home maybe 11.
Yeah, that ain't right. And then you got to stay 3 years.
Right.
And then suppose your boss is an idiot.
Right.
The person that brought you in may not no longer be there. Like I know, my husband with playing football and coaching, you'll come in, he'll come in as a defensive line coach, or offensive line coach under a certain head coach. And they all have a great rapport. Well, head coach gets a promotion. Right. So here comes a new head coach. And no bueno. So then it's like, okay, but I've signed this agreement and that legally binding. So I would have to say it's a handcuff for me. Okay. And it's really, but just say your partner, your significant other, supports your creative dreams, even though it's financially uncertain. Is it a hand up because he's so willing, or she is so willing to assist you, even though the financial uncertainty is there? Or is it a handcuff or maybe a hindrance because maybe they should be telling you, not now, honey, maybe you should probably develop things a little bit more before you commit to this. So is it a handcuff or a hand up? So they're supporting you, even though the uncertainty is there. But they are a team. Yay, Laniqua, Mariana, I love you. Yay, it's going to be good.
I'm married. But if I came to my husband for something like that, I would expect him to support me, even though the finances are uncertain. And here's why. It could be great. It could work out great. Why are you harping on that? I won't make any money. Right? And so I would expect my partner my husband to say, no, I support you and everything. You could do this.
Even though there's it's financial uncertainty. And maybe you might be.
But see, financial uncertainty doesn't mean that I'm going to be broke. Financial uncertainty is I don't know what you're going to bring in when. It could be $1 million for all you know. So
handcuff or hand up?
I say hand up because person should support you, whether it's your friend, your husband, whoever. I feel like they should support you, even though it's uncertain. So Mariana came to me and said, "Girl, look, I'm trying to step out. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much. Girl, do it."
Okay.
You don't know how far you could go.
That's true. And once Mariana says her hand up, okay.
I agree with the expectation that we would have a conversation about, okay, we'll give this such and such amount of years. And if it's not financially lucrative or whatever, then, maybe we should pivot.
Right.
I would want that type of conversation and dialogue before just saying we just gonna rock this till the wheels fall off.
No, we're not doing that forever. Yeah, that's like you're trying to be a rapper in your 60s. No.
Girl. MC Geritol. It might work.
Yeah, MC Geritol gonna be performing, but no. Right. No.
So you think hand up?
Hand up. Yeah.
I agree. Being in a relationship, whatever it is, with my kids, husband, friends, if someone is supporting me like you all today, it's such a blessing to me because I was, really nervous about, I was like, Lord, if I get on the screen, people going to pick you apart, and so I knew it was something I needed to do, but just to have the support of saying, here, we're here for you, even if it's just for a couple of hours, that means the world to me. So I definitely say hand up.
Oh,
Yay! And that is a wrap on part 1 of the Golden Handcuff session. We will be back for part 2. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Square Biz Podcast. Lenora out. Deuces. Yay!